Player, novel by Natalia Foley, Chapter 2.
All day long, Masha had been unable to sit still. She was more nervous than she'd ever been, because that evening marked her very first date. Her grandmother noticed the unusual flutter in her granddaughter's demeanor and instantly guessed its cause. "Masha," she said, smiling warmly, "you've met someone today, haven't you, darling?" "Yes, Grandma," Masha admitted easily. She never hid anything from her grandmother. To her, Grandma was the kindest, most beautiful woman in the world, and besides, though Masha called her grandmother, everyone else assumed she was her mother. So youthful and radiant did she appear. And most of all, she was the most understanding grandmother imaginable. So what would be the point of hiding anything? They sat together on a park bench, the air sweet with the spicy scent of blooming flower beds, the mighty oak above them rustling softly in the breeze. Her ever-perceptive grandmother listened intently as Masha recounted her chance morning encounter. "Grandma," Masha confessed, her voice trembling with excitement, "do you think he'll come?" He'll come, her grandmother chuckled. "I think you should wear that lace blouse grandfather brought back from Hungary, and the skirt I made for you." "But it's so short," Masha protested. "How can I possibly dance with my knees bare? Besides, they're so fat." She glared down at her plump knees with loathing. She'd always felt she wasn't thin enough, never quite pretty enough. But whereas that had hardly mattered before, today, on the eve of her first date, she despised herself utterly. She was on the verge of tears. "Grandma, what am I supposed to do? I can't dance in such a short skirt," she pleaded. "What to do?" Her grandmother paused for a moment, then brightened. "Well, if you can't wear a short skirt, then we'll make you a long one." The two of them set off toward their room with purposeful strides. Grandmother Maria, Masha had been named after her, was a true craftswoman. She adored beautiful fabrics and always traveled with a colorful heap of cloth. Curtains, pillowcases, tablecloths, bedspreads. Grandfather usually sent his ladies off to the resort for the entire summer, and grandmother preferred to arrange their room exactly to her taste. She replaced the drab state-issued bedspreads with her own silk ones, swapped out the institutional curtains, and even brought her own pillowcases. Never the standard-issue ones stamped boldly with the resort's emblem right in the center, but delicate pink ones trimmed with lace ruffles and flounces. Their choice fell on a green Persian silk bedspread and a sheer white tulle curtain. "Grandma," Masha declared firmly, "you'll make the blouse from the curtain, but I'll cut the skirt myself." Like her grandmother, Masha knew how to sew and loved doing it. Enthusiastically, she began snipping into the shimmering green fabric. By evening, the outfit was finished. Masha stood before the mirror, radiant, transformed, impossibly beautiful. "Oh, my darling," her grandmother clapped her hands in delight. Masha stared at her reflection in disbelief. A breathtaking young woman gazed back at her. A light chiffon blouse with a wide, softly gathered neckline, edged in a broad, flowing ruffle that cascaded tenderly over her shoulders and décolletage. A wide sash of the same chiffon cinched her waist and tied in a voluminous bow at the back, its tails nearly grazing the floor. And the skirt, it was magnificent, long, narrow, with a high side slit that ran to the knee. There was just one problem: the shoes. There was no choice but to wear her favorite white, patent leather sandals, low-heeled, slightly pointed. But they were old, the glossy surface cracked like peeling paint. "Oh!" Masha sighed, dismayed as she looked down at her feet. Such a beautiful outfit, and these sandals ruin everything. She adored them, despite their flaws. They were a bit tight now, and the once gleaming white lacquer was flaking, but they clashed horribly with the elegance of her dress. Her grandmother saw it too. After a thoughtful pause, her eyes lit up. "I know!" Within minutes, large, fluttering tulle bows had been fastened over the cracked leather, utterly transforming the worn-out sandals into something worthy of Cinderella herself. "Grandma, you're a real witch!" Masha laughed happily. Now she truly felt ready to meet her new acquaintance. After dinner, little Masha and Big Masha, as they often called each other, walked down to the courtyard. A dance was scheduled to begin near the main entrance of the resort. Guests already sat primly on benches encircling the makeshift dance floor. Beneath Masha's beloved oak tree, the evening's entertainer had set up his modest equipment, a massive reel-to-reel romantic tape recorder and a stack of bulky spools. It was still early. The sun had not yet fully set, and its last golden rays slanted through the trees, catching glints on the faces of those gathered. Stas was nowhere to be seen. Masha sighed in disappointment. Her grandmother noticed and squeezed her hand tightly, whispering in her ear, "Don't worry, he'll come. It's still early. No one arrives for dances at this hour. Wait until the sun sets. He'll be here. Now smile. Look how everyone's staring at you. You're the most beautiful girl here tonight." And it was true. People were looking at her, but their gazes held more envy than admiration. The crowd here was odd. No one seemed eager to socialize. Still, both Masha and her grandmother were treated with conspicuous respect, and for good reason. Masha's grandfather was perhaps the most famous investigator in the Soviet Union. Books had been written about him. The most complex and high-profile cases were entrusted to him alone, and he always solved them with honor. He was known as a man so sharp and insightful that nothing ever escaped his notice. Masha knew that in their 5-story Khrushchev-era apartment building, the family living one floor below was the director of a local store. It was said that neither he nor any member of his household dared meet Masha's grandfather on the staircase. They moved as silently as possible to avoid any encounter. Rumor had it the man turned pale at the mere mention of his neighbor's name, and if they did happen to cross paths, he often needed an ambulance afterward. Masha was used to people keeping their distance from her and her grandmother, but she could never grow accustomed to those looks brimming with jealousy and malice. Today, however, she sensed her new outfit had stunned the local population into silence, and she rather enjoyed it. Meanwhile, the entertainer glanced at his watch and decided it was time to begin. He loaded a reel into the tape recorder and announced in an overly solemn voice, "Comrades, our dance evening, dedicated to the indomitable spirit of enthusiasm in the songs of BAM builders, begins now." He himself barely understood what he'd just said, but it was essential to frame this not as mere dancing, but as a thematic, ideologically approved event. Only then could he play the songs of the popular vocal groups of the day. After all, this was the program officially approved by the Trade Union Committee of the USSR Prosecutor General's Office. Masha accepted his announcement as a matter of course, but the moment she heard the familiar opening line, "Hop, hey hop," from one of the trendiest songs of the season, she began swaying her head and shoulders to the rhythm. The dance involved shifting your weight onto your heels while lifting your toes and turning your feet outward in alternating motion. Your arms had to perform an even more intricate maneuver, circling in front of you as if winding invisible thread. Masha danced, whirling across the makeshift floor, completely immersed in the music. She no longer noticed who was watching her or what they thought. She was a woodland nymph, spinning in a wild, joyful, mechanical dance. But her grandmother saw everything. She watched as 3 figures, 2 boys and a girl, approached along the path from the bridge. They stopped beneath the trees, and one of the boys, curly-haired and handsome, pointed to Masha. All 3 stood still, enchanted. "That must be our bridegroom," the grandmother murmured with a knowing smile, studying the newcomer closely. She wasn't wrong. It really was Stas. He'd thought of nothing but Masha all day, dreaming of the moment he'd see her again. Now, standing in the shade of the trees, he watched her as if she were a beautiful butterfly fluttering above a flower meadow. "Man, you've got some nerve," Vlad whispered admiringly into Stas's ear. Stas had spent at least half an hour convincing him to come to these dances. "Oh, come on," hissed Elvira, Vlad's girlfriend, who stood beside them and had heard everything. "Elia," Vlad scolded gently. "You know I'm crazy about you, but Stas here is a lonely man. He deserves a partner too. Don't you mind if we assign him to that fluttering little bird over there?" He nodded toward Masha, still spinning on the dance floor. It'll be more fun for all four of us, right? Elia, daughter of the chairman of the State Committee for People's Control, was a privileged but intelligent girl. Like Masha, she'd just entered 10th grade. Next year she'd be applying to university. In truth, it didn't worry her at all. She knew she'd be attending MGIMO. For 3 years already, she'd been studying English with the best tutors in Moscow. She was sharp, capable, and terribly lonely. She and Vlad had been friends since childhood, but they'd started kissing in 7th grade. And by 8th, she'd become his lover. He was her whole world. Yet lately, the secrecy and exclusivity of their relationship had begun to chafe. She longed to go out with a group, to dance and laugh with others, not just alone with Vlad. So the idea of finding another couple to spend time with didn't just appeal to her. It felt like a long-awaited dream come true. Besides, Masha seemed perfectly normal, not some dull, awkward girl. Look at her, swirling confidently amid the pensioners' hostile stares. Our girl, Elia decided, and gave Vlad a gracious nod, signaling her approval of Stas and Masha. The dance ended. Masha stopped in the middle of the floor, catching her breath, her chest rising and falling with excitement. The seated pensioners offered a smattering of applause. But then, from the shadows near the trees where Stas, Vlad and Elia stood, came enthusiastic cries, "Bravo! Bravo! Well done!" The elderly guests turned their heads in disapproval, casting unfriendly glances at the noisy newcomers. Masha, flushed and flustered, but overjoyed to finally see Stas, walked straight toward him. Feeling the entire crowd's attention fixed on them, Stas hurried to meet her, for the first time in his life. He found himself behaving with unexpected gallantry, though he couldn't say why. Reaching her, he took her hand and kissed it gently. Then, slipping her arm through his elbow, he asked, "Where's your grandmother?" "Right there." Masha pointed to Big Masha, who sat calmly on a nearby bench, observing everything with serene composure. Stas led Masha ceremoniously to the bench, bowed politely and said, "Allow me to introduce myself. Stas Kubishkin, your granddaughter's new friend." "Kubishkin?" the grandmother repeated, startled. The name struck her as too absurd to be real. "Yes?" Stas was thrown off balance. "Is something wrong?" "No, no," she smiled sweetly. "Please sit down." They sat beside her, and she continued, "Masha told me you met this morning, and that she was expecting you." "Grandma!" Masha cried in protest. "What?" Her grandmother laughed easily. "I was expecting you too. I wanted to see my granddaughter's new friend." "And I'm very pleased. You're such a polite young man." "Really?" Stas seemed genuinely delighted. "Then, may we go for a walk with my friends? They're waiting for us." He gestured to Vlad and Elia, still lingering among the trees. "Of course," the grandmother agreed. "Just don't wander too far, and don't come back too late. And, well," she hesitated. "Of course," Stas smiled reassuringly. "Actually, I'm a teacher by training, so you can entrust your granddaughter to me without worry." They both laughed. Masha, surprised and touched by her grandmother's easy consent, kissed her tenderly on both cheeks and whispered, "Don't worry, Grandma. Everything will be fine." Her grandmother nodded silently, and the young people disappeared into the trees. Stas introduced Masha to his friends, who had already introduced themselves without ceremony. "Well then," Elia declared cheerfully, "let's build a bonfire and listen to Vladika sing with his guitar." "Oh, come on," Vlad waved her off. "Why listen to me? I've got a tape that'll blow your mind." "What kind?" Masha asked shyly. "My dad brought home a Galich tape the other day. Ever heard of him? Well, I've got it." Vlad boasted proudly. Everyone knew Galich was a banned poet. Owning or listening to his tapes was dangerous. You could end up in prison. But Vlad recognized no boundaries. Masha sensed this immediately and instantly disliked him. "But Galich is forbidden. He betrayed the motherland. He left," she objected. "So what?" Vlad relished showing off how free and defiant he was, how little he cared about rules. "Nothing," Masha said quietly. "It's just, My grandfather is handling his case. I've already listened to all of Galitch's tapes at home, but I won't listen to them with you by a fire. Grandfather said it could get me in serious trouble. Vlad stared at her, stunned. And who exactly is your grandfather? He asked, intrigued. The investigator for especially important cases at the office of the USSR Prosecutor General, Masha replied calmly. She'd already pegged him as the kind of reckless, unprincipled person her grandmother, and by extension she herself, couldn't stand. Masha didn't hide her feelings, and Vlad keenly sensed her distaste. For someone who prided himself on defying everyone and everything, this sudden discomfort was both unfamiliar and humiliating. He gave a low whistle and taunted Stas. "Oh, ho, ho, such a fearsome little lady. I'd be scared to go out with her." He pulled Elia close and called over his shoulder as they walked away. "Stas, don't linger too long. Walk her back to her grandma, then come find us. We'll be waiting by the fire in our usual spot." Elia glanced back at Masha with regret. She hadn't wanted to leave so soon, not after barely speaking to her, and strangely, she already liked this girl. But she didn't dare contradict Vlad, and together they disappeared toward the river, leaving Stas and Masha alone. Masha looked at Stas, her eyes welling with hot tears of hurt. "What's wrong?" Stas asked, alarmed. "What is it, sweetheart?" "Stas," she hiccuped. "Why did he treat me like that? What did I do to him? I truly can't listen to those tapes with strangers by a fire. You know that. My grandfather—" I know, Stas soothed her. "Don't pay him any mind, sweetheart. He's just a lout. Who does he think he is anyway?" "I'm sorry," Masha sobbed between gasps, "but I really can't let grandfather down. He always warned me." She broke into full sobs. It was so unfair. This perfect day, her first date, the one she'd longed for which she dressed like a princess. And now, of all times, to be insulted for no reason at all. Stas watched her tears with dread and overwhelming pity. He reached out, gently stroking her hair to calm her. On impulse, Masha leaned into his shoulder, trembling with quiet sobs. He kept stroking her thick, unruly hair until her breathing slowed, until she nestled against his shirt, still and quiet. Then something shifted. She realized she was in his arms and froze, torn. On one hand, now that she'd calmed down, she ought to pull away. On the other, it felt so wonderfully right to stand there pressed against his warm, pulsing body. She didn't know how to act, just a confused, hurt little girl. Stas was flooded with tenderness. Cupping her face in his hands, he whispered, "There now. Are you calm?" She closed her eyes softly in answer, yes. Then Stas gently brushed his lips against hers. They were dry, warm, faintly salty. He thought of her tears and lightly ran his tongue over them. A shiver ran through Masha's body. She didn't resist, didn't open her eyes, just remained still in his palms. Overwhelmed with longing, Stas finally kissed her properly, deeply, hungrily, drawing her mouth into his, teasing her lips with his own, tasting her breath, feeling her tongue answer his. Her arms crept around his neck. He pulled her closer, holding her trembling, timid, sweetly inviting body against his. They kissed and kissed, unable to stop, until their lips were swollen, flushed, deep red. "Oh no, what have we done?" Masha gasped in panic. "Now Grandma will know everything. What do we do?" "Don't worry," Stas said, drawing her toward the river. "We'll make compresses." They returned to the very pier where they'd met that morning and sat there until nightfall, pressing cool water lily leaves to their lips. They didn't kiss anymore, they were too exhausted, but simply chatted about nothing at all. Stas realized he'd never enjoyed idle talk with a girl so much. He'd never felt so happy, just sitting beside someone. When the sun had fully vanished and darkness thickened over the forest, Stas said, "Well, Masha, we should go. Otherwise your grandmother will never let us out alone again." "Stas," Masha asked shyly, eyes downcast, "are my lips very swollen? Will it be obvious?" He looked at her tender mouth. Yes, they were puffy, but far less so than half an hour ago. Softly kissing the corner of her lips, he whispered, "No, don't worry, just tell her you're tired and go straight to bed. No one will notice, all right?" Masha nodded without speaking, but he sensed something else troubled her. "What is it?" he asked gently. "Is there something else you want to ask?" She nodded again. "Well, go on," Stas urged, suddenly anxious. She stayed silent a moment longer, then, without raising her eyes, asked in a trembling voice, "Will I see you again?" Touched by her innocence and trust, Stas pulled her close, stroking her hair as her sweet little nose nestled once more into his shoulder. He murmured, "Good heavens, sweetheart, of course I will. I love you." He hadn't meant to say it. The words had slipped out unbidden, words he'd never spoken to any woman before. Yet they came easily, honestly. And Masha, hearing them, accepted them as perfectly natural. Pulling back just enough to look at him, she whispered like a child, "I love you too. I love you too."
End of chapter. The Player. Novel by Natalia Foley. To be continued.